of you who are already okay, so it seems like I'm live everywhere. So if I look here, that will be Instagram live, and straight here will be Facebook live and YouTube live. So I'm doing live stream on all three devices and all three streams. So anyway, today's topic is about costs, costs of getting the visa when moving to the Czech Republic, because that's an important topic, and I think we should discuss it more. Because I wanted to say when starting this video, I wanted to say that this is one of the most common questions we get, but actually it is not. For some reason, people do not really budget, and people do not really think about the cost when moving to the Czech Republic or before moving here. And many of them are then kind of surprised. We do get this question, how much will the visa process cost? But not really that often. Some people, I would say maybe 1 out of 20 people have want to know the cost, and it's mainly related to the cost of our services, like the immigration advisory services, but not the cost in general. So I'm not actually sure if people don't really care about the cost and then don't budget at all, or if they find the information somewhere else. But either way, I decided to do this live stream and then the recording of that, because it's an important topic in my opinion. So let's go through that one by one right now, because there are 4 types of costs you should take into account when you're moving to the Czech Republic. Number 1 is cost of the visa itself. Number 2 is the cost of the visa-related documents. Number 3 is the cost related to an immigration advisor, for example, us, Move to Prague, to help you with the whole process. And number 4 is the cost of the actual move, because there are many things related to the move itself. So I'll cover all of those now in details. So the first part of the cost is the cost of the visa itself. Actually, that's not that high, and that's not really like big part of the cost, but yeah, depending on your nationality, if you're an EU citizen or non-EU citizen, and the type of visa you're applying, there is some administrative fee which goes to the embassy or to the Ministry of the Interior, which is like a cost of the actual visa application. So in general, that's between 200 crowns for EU citizens and their family members to, let's say, 5,000 crowns for non-EU citizens applying, for example, for the business visa. So between 200 and 5,000 crowns, which is $10 to $230 approximately for like the actual visa application. Then the second type of cost is the cost of the visa documents related to your visa application or needed for the visa application, because there are many documents you need to collect when you're applying for some kind of visa or residence permit, and all of these documents have some costs. So to give you some examples so you can imagine what I'm talking about, for example, if it's your first application and you are moving here as a family member, for example, you already have someone living in the Czech Republic and you're applying for a family reunification visa. Then there are 2 documents you will need to get, and that might cost some money. For example, first would be your marriage certificate. So if you don't have it, you need to get it from some authority in your country. Then that will cost some money. Plus, in most cases, you need to get this document like apostilled or super legalized. And then you need to also get it translated into Czech officially. So those are all costs related to that document. Another example is, for example, the criminal check. So to get the criminal check in the country of origin costs some money. To then get it apostilled and translated into Czech also costs some money. So those are all costs you need to keep in mind. Again, to give you some examples, for example, the cost of getting a criminal check for US citizens, if you're already in Europe and you're applying for a visa here, then the cost would be like $50 US for an affidavit. In some other countries might be more or less. Then you need to get the apostille. So again, it depends on the country where you're getting it, but that would be somehow around that as well, like $50, for example. And then you need to get the whole package translated into Czech, because all the documents you submit for any type of visa or residence permit must be submitted in Czech language. So you need to officially get it translated. So again, depends on the translator you find, but it would be between, say, 400 and 600 crowns per standard page. So then it also depends on how many pages you will be translating. So this would be roughly that. Then other costs related to the visa applications are, for example, DHL of the documents, DHL in the documents. Because if you're, for example, applying for a family reunification visa and your partner or your spouse is already living in the Czech Republic, then you will need to get some documents from them. For example, the proof of accommodation, or a bank statement of theirs, or their employment contract, stuff like that. And you need to physically ship the documents from the Czech Republic to the country where you're applying for your visa. So the DHL cost, that's another cost related directly to the visa application. So you need to keep that in mind as well. Again, that's difficult to say, because the exact price is difficult to say, because it depends on the country where you're shipping the documents to. But in general, I would say between 1,500 to 4,000 crowns maybe for DHL. So these are the costs related directly to obtaining the visa-related documents and to applying for the visa itself. Then third type of costs related to Czech visa application is cost for visa advisors. For example, me, or Move to Prague, our company. I will shoot another video, or I will do another live stream about that, because I think it's a very important topic to discuss as well, like the quality and cost of visa advisors. So it's not something I would like to discuss right here, right now, because it will require a separate live stream, because I want to go deeper in that topic. So I cannot give you like a price right now, but you need to count with that as well, because on one hand, you can take care of the whole process on your own. And in that case, you will not pay anything at all. But on the other hand, you risk that the visa application will go wrong. And we see it often that people apply for their visas on their own, and sometimes it works out well and everything is fine and they get the visa and it's okay. But in some cases, we see that they made just like one small mistake somewhere. For example, that the address of the person who's moving here, like the family reunification, is not the same as the address of the person already living in the Czech Republic, and they get a visa, they get their visa denied because of this small mistake. And then they anyway need to hire someone to make the application correct again. So in my opinion, it's better to hire someone experienced from the beginning, even just like for a consultation. Like, okay, I have all these documents ready. My wife is applying for her visa 2 weeks from now. Do we have everything, or do we need something extra? And even like this will not cost you much, but you will have the certainty that you have all the documents and they are in order, and that you have the highest chances of getting the visa approved. So, but as I mentioned, this will be a topic for another live stream, because I believe it's very important to talk about the quality of the visa advisors which you can find in the Czech Republic. So stay tuned, subscribe, follow me, because I'll be doing a live stream about this topic soon. So if you're interested in that, please also do all these things. And then fourth type of cost you need to keep in mind when you're moving to the Czech Republic and applying for some type of visa is like not the costs which are not directly related to the visa, but you need to keep them in mind. So that's, for example, the cost of traveling, like the flight tickets to the Czech Republic. There are also costs kind of related to the visa, like traveling to the embassy, because you cannot apply, obviously you cannot apply for a visa from your home, like online or something. So you need to go submit your application to some Czech embassy. So you need to count with that cost as well, because if you live in the city where the embassy is placed, then obviously the cost is not like really high. But if you need to fly to the embassy, if you live somewhere further away from the embassy and you need to fly to the embassy to submit the application, or if you're applying in Europe, for example, if you're an American or Canadian, Australian, and you're in the Czech Republic and you're applying for your visa through some Czech embassy outside of the Czech Republic in Vienna or Berlin or Brussels, you need to count with the cost to get to the embassy. So then it also depends on the time of the appointment, because if your appointment is like 9 o'clock in the morning, very likely you will need to fly to the city, to the embassy like a day before, and you will need to spend one night in a hotel. So that's also a related cost to the visa application, even though it's not like direct. And you also need to pick up your visa from the same embassy where you applied for it. So you will be traveling to the embassy twice. So that's another cost you need to keep in mind. And then all the costs which are not related to the visa itself, but you will need to cover those. So like flight tickets to the Czech Republic. Then also accommodation costs, because you will at some point, either before you apply for the visa or after you get the visa approved, but you will need to find a place to live. You will need to rent an apartment. And how it works in the Czech Republic is that when you rent in an apartment, you need to pay the first month rent and then 1 or 2 month rent deposits to the owner in case you destroy the apartment. And if you go through a real estate agent, there will be another 1 month rent commission to the real estate agent. That's a common practice in the Czech Republic. So that's another cost you need to keep in mind, because if you need to pay 3 or 4 months rent, that's kind of dependent, of course, on the rent, but it can be a significant amount of money you need to pay, and you should budget for that. Another cost is because when you move to the Czech Republic, there are things you will need to buy. You will need to buy a Czech SIM card and start paying like either on monthly basis or just top up your credit every now and then. You will need to buy the transportation pass. So on monthly basis, you will be paying the transportation pass, or you will buy it for a full year or 3 months or something. And that's also a cost related to that. Often what happens is that people come here with some clothes, but the weather here is different than they expected. So they need to buy some clothes locally. Or if you're moving to an apartment, it often happens that there is no like cutlery or plates or stuff like that. So you need to buy that as well. So you should budget for all these 4 things: for the cost of the actual visa application, which is anywhere between $10 and $230. Then the cost of the documents needed for the visa, which can be, to give you like a rough idea, between $25 and $500 maybe, depending, of course, on what kind of documents you need and where you live and how many pages to translate and all this. But anywhere between $25 to a couple $100. Then the fees for the immigration agents or immigration assistants or visa advisors, or however we call it, for people like me who help expats with the visa processes. But I will shoot another, or I will do another live stream about this topic next week probably, because it's a very important topic and I want to go deeper in that. And then costs of the actual move. So not exactly related to the visa, but related to the move itself, because those are all costs that add up. And if you're not prepared for that, then you might end up surprised when you move here. Okay, so now if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, because I see that some people watch me on Facebook, some people watch me on YouTube, some people watch me on, I actually cannot see Instagram because I'm using the other camera, but I'll answer those questions there when I finish the live stream. I believe I can save it there as in IGTV or something, so I'll reply there for sure. But if you have any questions here, please feel free to ask. It can be related to the cost of the move or the visa, or it can be related to any other topic. I'll be here for a couple more minutes, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll be just circling around this topic because it's, in my opinion, it's very important to plan it and to budget it. When you're moving to a new country, often what happens is that people just jump on the train as well, but usually the plane, and they just appear here and, hey, here we are, let's get this process done, which is great. And that's like that's very adventurous and very brave of you, so I like admire that. On the other hand, if you don't have any idea on what budget to expect or what costs to expect, it can end up pretty well, not badly, but it can get you into some difficult situation. So it's very important in my opinion, and I hope this live stream and the recording, which will stay on Facebook and on YouTube and IGTV, then that it will be useful. And if you have any questions like regarding the details, like of, for example, costs of our services, or like some detailed questions about some documents and costs, please feel free to get in touch and I'll be happy to answer. Okay, guys. So if you don't have any questions, I'll be finishing the live stream now. I'll start with Facebook, then I'll do YouTube, and then that will be very weird for people on Instagram to watch me because I need to stand up from the chair and like go from the other side. So, guys, thank you very much for your support, for joining me. Some of you come to all my live streams, so I'm really happy and I appreciate it. So hopefully this content is useful. And if it is, share it, like it, subscribe. This all helps and it keeps me going. So thank you very much, guys. Have a lovely rest of the holiday today. Bye-bye. So now Instagram